Chris, reporting live. It's the Bronze Room. Welcome to another episode. I'm here with my lovely co-host Joy. Joy, say what's up to the beautiful people.
Hey, what up? What up, blacksmiths? How y'all feeling?
Yeah, it's another
Happy
beautiful day.
Sunday.
Absolutely. Happy Sunday. It is September 25th, 2022. And we got another exciting episode for y'all. We got a lot of hot topics that we want to discuss. We're going to start things off with On This Day. On this day today in history, um, on this day today in history, uh, we got a lot of different things that happened today in history. But the first thing I want to
Mhm.
talk about is Henry Ford. Here, Henry Ford introduced and announced the first 8 hour a day, 5 day a week work schedule.
What?
Yeah, before that, niggas was out here working 12 hours a day, probably more. And
Oh.
his factory started doing that, and it became the standard
Mm.
for today's work week.
I need
Um,
them to change the standard. That's cute, but I'm gonna need them to change it.
well, yeah, they've actually been. It's been in the conversation lately about reducing the 5 day work week to a 4 day work week, which is, I believe, what they do in Europe.
Yeah, everywhere but here. Like, I mean, Henry set the precedence, but niggas be working more than that.
Oh
That's
yeah, for
cute. I
sure.
didn't know that. I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I know up until that point in the
Uh,
Industrial Revolution of the late 1800s to the early 1900s, um, there were a bunch of child labor laws that that had yet to be created. I
mhm.
know a lot of children were working in factories and stuff. A lot of children were ending up with missing limbs and whatnot because of
Wow.
those factory jobs. Um, Things were just much different in the early
Wow.
1900s.
Yeah,
Much different.
I bet. Yeah, yeah. They definitely didn't have any no labor laws going on. Like people was working until they couldn't anymore.
Yeah, ironically, we learned from that and improved our system, but yet a lot of corporations were going overseas to Africa and causing little kids in Sierra Leone to lose limbs in the mines of the diamond mines, which is what that movie Blood Diamond covered a little bit about back in
Yeah,
2005, I think.
that was a good movie. That was a really good, and it really did highlight that. You know, they still doing that though. They doing that for the cell
I have no
phones.
doubt. I have
They
no
got
doubt.
them babies mining for cobalt, which is used for our cell phones over here, and they're losing limbs, they're losing eyesight, they're not getting nutrition. They're being forced to work hours upon hours. It's sad. So yeah,
Yeah,
we got it good over here.
Kanye made a whole song about blood diamonds and
Right.
covered that very subject. And yeah, like you said, it's still going on today. Um, like I said, we learned we learned from it and changed laws over here, but overseas, it's very clear we could give a damn about what's going
Right.
on to little black kids.
Right.
So
That actually says a lot. It's like, okay, we're not gonna do it over here, but we're gonna go over there. If they could do it over here, they would.
100%,
Yeah. So I guess we can
1,000.
thank Henry.
Yeah, and Henry Ford helped
Thank
to
you, Mr.
pave a
Ford.
different way. Yeah, appreciate you, dog. On this day today, there was also a big incident that is forever or has forever been imprinted into history books ever since, and that was after the Brown versus Board of Education. Desegregation became illegal. Segregation became illegal, and
Mhm.
children were able to integrate schools or go to integrated schools. And one of the incidences that happened during that period happened today in 1960. I'm sorry, 1957, I believe, where
Wow.
300 U.S. Army troops had to guard 9 black kids as they returned to Central High School in Arkansas. I don't know if you have that image in your head, but it was like
What?
the image of the she it was like a teenage black girl. She had dark sunglasses on, and she was trying to walk to class, but she had all these racist kids like on either side of her
Oh,
shouting at her.
mm-hmm,
So yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's they had to call in the National Guard or the troops to
Wow.
kind of make sure that these kids were able um, to exercise their right for education. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a damn shame. Just to go. Yeah, I remember my mother actually telling me a story of when when schools became segregated when she was in high school, and she said she had made a little white friend, but then she said a riot broke out at school. She said, and when it came down to it, it was the white girl or her black homegirl. She said she beat that bitch ass.
Damn.
But
What?
a
They
riot
had
broke
to fight each other?
well, a riot broke out because it was when they started segregation. My mom was about 15 years old. Well, the high school that she went to,
Damn.
some high schools were still segregated, but this one that she went to, and she had been through some things. When she was in third grade, she got stabbed in the hand with a pen by this little white boy because they still weren't used to being in school together. So that was even with those laws changing, and which is wonderful, it still made a challenge for us. And I just know from hearing her stories of going to schools when they brought segregation back. And I remember she said riots would break out between the white and black people, the white and black kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So very interesting. But
Did your mom grow up out here in LA?
oh, well, no, that's the other thing. She actually grew up in Virginia. So that's
Okay. Yeah.
so that's a bigger factor of it because they still believe in Confederacy over there. It's really still old school Southern state like over there,
Right.
and
Yeah.
in the more suburban, smaller. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Oh man. Well, I'm glad that we've come a long way. Although there is a
yeah.
conversation that has um, always, I suppose, been present that segregation or desegregation was actually the beginning of some very hard times for the black community because we were no longer, I guess, supporting our own economic growth, but we were depending on
Mm,
uh, white society to facilitate some of
hmm
our more basic needs.
hmm
But that can
That's
be
a
a
good point, Chris.
yeah. That's definitely something that
Wow.
people have talked about for a long time. I mean, I remember it was I think it was 2016, 2017. I was working in this one gig and this one dude, black dude, he tried kicking that shit to me. I was like, wait, hold on, what? Desegregation was bad? Because that was the first time I had ever heard of that, and I thought he was on some coon shit. But he broke it down to me, and then I started hearing other sources talk about that, and I started to add it up, and yeah, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, if you have scenes like Black Wall Street, um, when you desegregate, segregate it, it kind of takes away your economic power that you fought to kind of build and maintain. You
Hmm
know what I mean? So,
hmm
you know,
hmm
yeah, it's something to think about. It's definitely
Oh, I
definitely
agree.
something to think about. I mean, I know we talk about how we need to have our own this, our own that, and that yeah, if you're in a desegregated society, it makes it much harder to have your own whatever. You know what I mean?
Hey, can we? Let me
So
tell
I mean,
you. I've had this convert because I've told people this and they're like, that sounds crazy. You're spewing out hate. No, I'm not spewing out hate, but we don't have enough unity amongst each other. And the only way to get it saturated like that is to completely separate. That's it. That's
yeah,
it. But
yeah,
you know
yeah.
that once we separate, that's the power. We are the juice. We the juice right
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Your energetic currency completely goes down on the barometer if you literally subtract Black people from the equation. If we did our own shit, all of this shit would be obsolete because everything we do is a million times better on our worst day. So,
Yeah. I
you
mean, when you
know,
think about the entertainment industry, and how we have such a force in that field, think about if we all were able to collectively um, own that. You know what I mean?
hmm,
And have those black dollars circulating in our own communities versus
right,
being poured out into other communities like we know is a prevalent issue. When you think
right.
about athletics, the Negro leagues. I mean, think about sports today and sports leagues without black people a part of it. It would cease to
Oh
be. It
yeah,
would look nothing like what it is today. So we have
right,
power in these certain fields, and
yeah.
hypothetically, if we were self-sustained, um, we would have definitely those two pillars and more to really base an
Oh
economic
yeah.
system on.
Mathematics, all of it, all
Yeah.
of it.
So,
Yeah,
but there's pros and cons to both. We're in a desegregated
yeah,
world, which is comes with a lot of good things and
yeah,
whatnot. We
yeah.
fought for that in the civil rights movement. That's what we fought for. Um, but and I mean honestly,
In
a lot of
in
uh,
confusion, we felt like we needed to belong,
well, yeah, exactly,
when in
exactly.
actuality we
And
should have
and
just
and
conquered.
and Dr. King, he his last speech before he was assassinated, I think the very next day, was called "The Mountain on the Sermon." I'm sorry, Sermon on the Mountain. Was it? Or was that Jesus? He had some. I think it was called. I can't remember, but I think it was actually like the burning building speech or something like that, burning house.
Not Jesus.
Anyway, the point of the speech really expressed Dr. King's worry and concern
Mm.
for. He said, "quote like I'm worried that I led my people into a burning house." You know what I mean? Because
I'm
I
gonna have to
think,
concur with him on that one.
yeah, he was. I believe
I'm
he
like,
was
you too nice,
alluding.
bruh.
He was alluding to desegregation and how it's going to come with a lot of issues. You know what I mean? Lot of problems.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He was a
yeah,
very
I
mighty
mean,
man, though. Yeah,
yeah,
we
and
did
that's
what we had to do, and we did have to be. Um, there is a reason for everything, and we'll never learn how to get back to who we are unless we see what is torn us apart. Sometimes you have to go through these lessons of humility. This is a lesson of humility for Black people because we're a really mighty group and culture of people, but I do believe in segregation 100%. I wouldn't mind it.
yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother
Um,
me one bit.
and I can't say that I am mad at you for that belief.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to. That's a
Yeah,
juicy
we can
conversation.
visit that. We can visit that
Yeah, I'm
conversation
just
at
playing
another
all
time.
kinds of scenarios. Yeah, but I ain't ready to hurt no feelings with the truth just yet. Um,
Yeah, it
um,
says in this, I just looked it up. It says, I fear I may have integrated my people into a burning house.
mm,
That is a quote from one of Dr. King's, or his not one of his last speeches. It was his very last speech. I
yeah.
think, let's see, August 20th, 2013. You know what? I'm gonna come back
No,
and
but
let
you
y'all
know
know
what?
exactly
I
which
think
speech
you're
it
right
was,
though,
etc.
because somebody else, I read somewhere else that somebody else, I was reading, you read things online and they'll bring up historical points. And they were talking about this, about how he was starting to have a change of mind, a change of thought. His thoughts were evolving and he was feeling like, okay, like shit, is this the way to go? basically. You know what I'm saying? Do we want to do this? You know, it because we might have been thinking it was about inclusion. Really, it's about respect. No, I don't want to be a part of your shit. What you need to do is just fucking respect us. That's
Yeah.
it. But we didn't know that. We thought it meant us being included. You know what I'm saying? Y'all came to us. Y'all came to us. Y'all still not taking baths after we showed y'all how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it just already goes to show you. But yeah, he was still a very mighty man. But I do think that you're right about that, because a lot of people mention that. That's actually one of the reasons why, you know, he was murdered in the hospital.
In the
You know
hospital.
why they smothered him with the pillow.
You talking about MLK still?
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
he
still
didn't die from his from the gunshot.
he didn't die from the gunshot. He was murdered in the
Oh,
hospital. They
that's my
suffocated
first
him to
time ever
death.
hearing about them.
Yeah, they suffocated him. He was murdered in the hospital. He was still alive. Yes. And they keep
Mm,
that under wraps every year, but if you look that up, that is factual. Now, I don't know if it was with a pillow, but I know for sure he was suffocated. Yeah.
wow,
Mhm. Yeah,
wow.
because whenever there's somebody telling the truth, and you know he had a discovery just like Malcolm X did when he came back after his spiritual journey, he realized some things and he was going to share it. But the truth is so powerful, and their truth was going to involve segregation. I know that
Yeah,
for sure. And they didn't want that. Oh shit. We a whole battery pack. We're batteries for the world.
yeah. On that note, other and other events that took place today in history. Um, I seem to have lost my place. I'm sorry, blacksmiths. Please forgive me. We have a couple birthdays that were today. That were today in history. Today, your boy Donald Glover was born in 1983.
Yay!
Even give him some love. Give him some love. Make sure y'all go to his
Happy
page. Show him
birthday,
some love.
Donald Glover.
There it is. Are you not gonna finish it off? Okay, all right, it's good.
Happy
Um,
birthday.
and then your boy, who's now infamous, if he wasn't already infamous, Will Smith was born today in 1968.
Hey,
You know,
happy birthday to him.
hey,
Happy birthday to him.
yeah,
Happy
mm, mm, mm,
birthday.
mm. Yeah. So he's been a polarizing figure over the past 6 months, ever since the Oscar slap. And you know what? I'm, in that polarized world that he has created for himself, I'm gonna have to be on the bad side. I don't really fuck with Will Smith like I once did, because he lost a lot of respect from me with that whole ass
I'm
shit that he
looking you
pulled
up and down
on the
right
Oscar.
now.
I know you are. I know you are. But I mean, hey, the truth is the truth. That was some whole shit that he pulled. And I don't respect him for that shit. I really don't. Chris
You know
Rock is,
what?
is is smaller than Will Smith. Chris Rock is a
So,
comedian. That's his job is to tell jokes. Chris Rock
you know what?
really didn't. Chris Rock really didn't even get on Jada like that, like he could have if he wanted to. Let's not. And you know what? All this is arguable up until this very point. And I'm about to drop the mic on this one.
Mm.
Will Smith was laughing at the joke before he decided to get up and slap him. So what kind of bullshit is that?
Maybe he was in shock. Laughing is not always because look, I've laughed when I've been sad. I ain't gonna lie. Seriously, I've
Yeah.
had a fucked up day and I've been like and then into a cry for real. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe he was laughing, but maybe at the same time he's like, fuck, maybe that was funny, but then that hurt my girl's feelings. And later on, she probably, if he hadn't slapped him, she was probably gonna cuss his ass out when he got home. You weak nigga,
Yes,
you
because we
ain't
all know
shit.
Jada wears the
You
pants in that
watch that.
family.
Yeah, she wear
Yeah,
the pants
he
and the
wears
strap
the pants
on
in that. So
and the dick.
he lost all the points for me. Like
Well,
you got to be able
mm,
to, if you ain't wearing the pants in your own household, dog, and you're bringing in all the money,
my
then
thing
I can't
is,
respect you on that, dog. I
here's the
can't.
thing. I can
Sorry.
respect him because I still respect him because I know that people are human. This man has made so many accomplishments, and yes, he might have failed in this, and this happened publicly. But we all do things. We all have something that we've done in life, and I know that he's held to a higher social responsibility. But we've all done things in life where we're like, you know what, I definitely should have and could have handled it better. This man has done so many wonderful things, and including opening opportunities. He has been a father to his children. He didn't just run out, he has been there. Maybe that wasn't the best way to handle
You
that
don't get points for
situation.
that.
But here's my thing.
You don't get points for doing the bare minimum. That's what you supposed to do.
Chris Rock should have sat his little skinny black ass down and shut the fuck up. In my opinion, his ass deserved to motherfucking be slapped. If you run your motherfucking mouth, prepare to get run the fuck up on.
Yeah,
Period.
I mean,
So
hey,
he opened his
bro.
mouth. You want to be a comedian? Get your ass motherfucking slapped because you know what happens when you test points. Now, is Will Smith
Okay.
having to deal with the consequences of his actions? Yeah, but Chris Rock he had his consequences too. Not only that, this wasn't his first time. It's like, damn nigga, was you trying to fuck and she didn't let you hit? What's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, why you keep getting on Jada? I'm not the biggest Jada fan, but my thing is okay, you did it last time at an award ceremony. We saw it. Now you doing it again. Why are you coming for her? Come for somebody else. It's so many little scraggly clear holes that you could go for. Why are you going for her? You know,
Yeah,
and it's
but
like,
they were
so,
sitting front row.
and
They
then
were
you
sitting
doing it
front
at the
row.
expense, and you
Everybody
doing it,
knows when
but
you're
who's
at
all
a
the people
comedy show.
laughing?
When you are at a comedy show, if you sit in the front row, you are live bait for the comic. That's just what. That's
You
how it
know
is.
what?
It's
And
not like
let
she
me tell
wasn't.
you,
Now, if she wasn't there and he was talking about her, okay, then we could speculate on like, oh, does he have a crush on her or whatever? But nah, she was sitting front row on both of the occasions that she got talked about.
he probably tried to hit. She said, "Nah,
Oh,
your
I don't
jokes
doubt
ain't
it. She's a
funny
beautiful
enough.
woman. She's
Your
a
jokes
beautiful
ain't
woman. I
funny
don't doubt
enough."
that. I'm not. I don't doubt that, and I wouldn't
Yeah,
be mad at Chris Rock for even trying. You know what I
like
mean?
Chris, just sit down, boo boo. Sorry, not you. I
No, no,
forgot
no,
y'all
no,
both
no,
got
no,
the
no.
same
I
name.
get you. No, I
That's
got
why
you.
you defending them because y'all got the
Yeah,
same
because his
name.
name is Chris. I mean, hey, we got to stick up for each other.
Well, Chris
I stick
needs
up
to
for
stop
all
snorting
Chris's.
that rock. And no, I'm just playing. Let me stop starting a rumor before I get hate mail. But yeah, I feel like he deserved to slap. You know what I'm saying? And if it was me, yeah, I'm in the front row. Will prepare for me to walk up on that stage and motherfucking take off on your motherfucking peanut head ass.
Okay, all right.
But see, if that was
Yeah.
me, I would have got on his ass though. That's when I just would have went up on the stage. I would have did a Kanye. I wouldn't have slapped him, but I would have took the mic and then on your ass getting roasted. I'm a comedian too.
You would have pulled the Nutty Professor move.
Yeah, we doing, yeah. What was his name? Yeah, you wasn't Dave Chappelle actually
Yeah,
the
that was Dave Chappelle. Now it's time to
oh
talk
my
about your
god.
mama.
Right. Okay. Right. Let's talk about how your mama fucking did rock when she was pregnant with you, Chris. No, I'm just playing. Not you, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
nah, he played
playing.
he played that Pookie role a little too good, huh?
He did. He played it awesome. He played it well. Lips is still white to this day. Um, Yeah. So you see what side I'm on because
I
I
feel
feel
you.
like people were so hard on Will Smith, and I get it. Like, I'm not saying that the slap was okay, and this is coming from somebody who I never put my hands on people, but when I used to get mad, I used to damage property like my own, like throw things and stuff. And then I realized I was like, well, damn, now this is broken. This doesn't do anything. But not only that, it's a form of violation. So when you do go up to somebody and you first of all, when you just step into a certain energetic space where you're closer than whatever, you're already, if the person hasn't invited you, you're already violating that space. So I do agree that while what he said was not the nicest thing, even if it was a joke or whatever, or it wasn't perceived as such, going up to somebody and slapping them is a total violation. But I feel like he deserved it. And if I could, I would fucking slap his ass again for Will Smith. Not for Jada, for Will.
Okay. All right. I hear that.
Chris Rock, come see me.
It was my opinion months ago, and it's my opinion now, that if he really was hurt by that or felt disrespected by that, he could have done that to Chris Rock just behind stage. Or, you know what I mean? Like after the fucking.
Why after the fact? No, I'm gonna embarrass your
I mean?
ass on stage. You want to run your mouth on stage? We'll let all these people see your ass get slapped up.
But here's the fallout from that, because he ended up fucking himself. He fucked himself out of a couple of movie deals from that, etc. If he would have done it behind stage, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why I advocate for in our community, blacksmiths. Just think about your actions. You could like. A lot of people were saying like that's a man and he's got to stand up for himself and his wife in particular. I 1000% agree with that. But be smart about your shit. Don't do it in front of like national or global TV where everybody's watching. Handle that nigga after the show.
Yeah, but sometimes that's
why I'm saying like he was on some emotional shit, which is why I'm like, yeah, that was some whole shit. Like he was on some emotional shit. He was crying
but maybe
after.
it wasn't. Like but here's the thing. But we don't know everything. Let me tell you. But people are so human. We really don't know what people be going through. And just considering the business that this bald-headed asshole be putting out, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Like, you know,
yeah, like he's under emotional duress in that household.
He's definitely. It's clear. Like I said before, you can tell when a woman is behind her man. She's definitely not behind him. I can tell. You can just tell the dynamic, you know what I'm saying? She's not being there. She's not present as a queen in his life.
She didn't even react when he did that. Like, she didn't react at all.
She wasn't there for him. She should have stood up. She should have been writing for him. Instead, she made a statement like, I wish my husband had did that. Like, bitch, that's why your hair ain't never going to grow back. Because you don't need it. We need all the sunlight to reach that scalp to give you some oxygen because you're not thinking straight. You know, so I mean, you know, I get it. I do hope I do hope that he can come back, and I hope in the process that he finds himself, he is able to have the strength to drop that little rat thing. You know what I'm saying?
If
I'm like, man, she don't even want you anyway. She's still over there crying over Pop. She's still over there masturbating his double XL pictures.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
For real. That's a sad situation in the Smith household. We're gonna pray for him, and hopefully they get.
But happy
get
birthday
together.
to him. I hope he found another bitch to spend his birthday with today.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because you know she ain't doing them right. That's for sure. Yeah. And I don't want to sound like I'm not empathetic towards his situation, because I do believe that he is a battered husband for sure, if not physically, emotionally. And that's a sad situation, but
it's heartbreaking.
Just like I said, you got to be a man in this world and defend your woman. You know, if you feel like it's necessary, you got to be a man and run your household the way that's supposed to. You know what I mean?
So if that was you would have slapped Chris Rock behind stage.
Either I would have been left Jada, or she would have been changing.
Right, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen to begin with, right?
Because it wouldn't have went down like that.
Right, because you wouldn't even been sitting there next to her. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, that's just my take, but.
Yeah, I'm still an advocate for him. I'm still rooting for him. That man is very gifted, and I wish.
For sure, he brought us so much great content, so many great movies, such a great series with Fresh Prince.
Music, he's so versatile.
Dominated. Yeah, he's dominated like our televisions and radios for such a long time, and you know that's. This criticism of him is not to take away from the light that he's been able to give us for so long. So, you know, we celebrate him on this day.
Yes, his birthday. Love Will.
Big ups to Will Smith. And we hope that his whole household is getting together, because God knows it's in dire need of something. They need Jesus in that household.
Right. Real. Like, fuck that red table. Y'all need to just go to the altar. Right. Y'all need to go to the altar or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you know, since we're talking about Jada, her ex boo thing ended up getting socked or not. I think he ended up socking
by the
uh
leprechaun. No, I'm just playing.
what did he hit? So now did he punch Tory Lanez or did Tory Lanez punch him?
No, Tory Lanez punched him from what I read. And at
Man,
first they said Tory Lanez was denying it, but then there was video footage that showed that he approached him. He shared some words with him about something. And
damn.
he said, and I heard August talk about it, and he was like, I don't even know what dude was on, basically. But yeah, he had a busted. Now, the picture that he took posed after he got socked out, I'm like, why'd you take this picture? And what did Jada see in you? But yeah,
Well,
I don't know if
Jada
you saw the
was on some
picture.
predator shit.
Yeah.
She was being a predator.
Yeah, she
She took
probably had that
advantage
boy
of it.
doing all kind of things.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be laughing at that. He was going through some things. He was going through some stuff, and he was taken advantage of by a powerful
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. We need to, I told you, we need to talk about that. Like
yeah,
older women having a certain influence over men of a certain age.
yeah.
It's
Now I
because
believe,
it's big in our community.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we could talk about that in another episode. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
prepared to talk
No,
about it
I'm not.
right now. I
No,
don't have
no,
any real contribution to
no,
it as far as an information
no.
standpoint. But
Yeah, you're right. I
but
don't either.
is
Yeah.
Tory Lanez 4'11"?
Hmm.
He's on 4'11", isn't
Yeah, I
Oh
believe
wow.
he is. That's why they play around and they call him the leprechaun. I was playing around when I called him that. I don't have anything against
Yeah,
anybody
I'm just reading the
shorter.
article that
Yeah,
says
he's
he's
a short
4'11".
man. Yeah, he's little. He's like how I don't know how tall Prince was, but wasn't Prince
I don't know if
Prince was
Prince was
very
that. Prince was like
maybe
probably like
5.
5'3", 5'4",
Oh
maybe
yeah,
five
you know what?
five.
Maybe you're right. Maybe
4'11" is
5'4".
tiny.
Yeah, I have a friend that's 4'11", and so yeah, he's a small man. He's
Oh,
small. Yeah, that's how I'm like, were you and Meg dating? Because if you 4'11" and you basically
yeah,
a dildo for her.
damn.
Oh,
Like that.
sorry. You know what? Let me stop. But
So I'm looking it up right now, and it says that in his police report, in his arrest
not the,
report, when he was arrested for shooting Meg, he is 5'3".
oh, okay.
Five
I
foot.
don't know why people be saying 4'11" but 5'3".
People be putting extras on shit.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
that's just what it is. But
yeah.
yeah,
People so
uh,
mean to short men.
yeah. I mean, that's the world we live in. You know what I mean? That is the world we live in. But I'm glad to clear the air and put a little bit of respect on this man's his name. He's 5'3".
Yeah. But you know what? I'm kind of having the feeling though. I hear quite a few stories about him being like hot tempered, and I actually was advocating for him in this whole Megan the Stallion gun situation.
Okay.
And I've gotten arguments back about it because it's like, you a black woman. You're not trying to protect other black women. Well, no, it's not that case, but I also know a lie when I hear
Well, yeah,
one.
right is right
I
and
can
wrong is
I can
wrong.
I hear stories, and if they don't add up, it's a lie. And
Yeah.
I've heard
So,
yeah,
what's the deal? Give us the scoop because I don't know much about that incident. I just know that I don't think anybody's come out with any real information about what the
that's
fuck happened
another,
that night.
yeah, that's
I
another reason why I think it's
speculate.
a lie.
I speculate that he had to be smashing, and something went down in the midst of
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? She was either messing with somebody or some.
Supposedly your friend
You
was
don't shoot a
there though.
female unless you're sexually involved with her, unless you're emotionally involved with her, which most often comes with sex.
But see, they're saying that the damage from her foot was not from the bullet, it was from shattered glass.
Hmm.
So that's the other thing about it. She was like twerking the next day. Okay, let me not exaggerate, but she was definitely
Hmm.
like fucking it up. I'm sorry if you shot in the foot. It was just some things that wasn't adding up. The tears in her last interview, there were no tears in her last interview about
Okay.
it. It was just certain things. And now I don't know if it's true or not, but I will say this: he is still tied to a lot of incidents where people say this man got upset about something. People aren't just going to say that, you know what I'm saying? So I do feel like there is some partial truth to it. And I'm not going to say I don't know if he shot at her or not. I really don't know the truth. All I'm saying is from what I've heard, I don't believe that she was shot by him. Maybe I don't believe she was shot by him. Maybe he did shoot at her. I don't think she was shot though. And um and I don't and part of it feels like a publicity thing. I don't know, because how come y'all ain't solved the case? How come he ain't in jail if he shot her? Like, it's not making
pretty
sense
open
to me.
shut
I don't
case.
get it.
But I mean, wasn't she not, giving up information to the police or something like that?
Supposedly, but she did a whole interview, a formal interview with who? Was it Gail or somebody? She did an interview.
Yeah.
I watched the interview, but I forgot who she was interviewing with, because she did a couple of interviews, but the interview, I didn't see not one tear come down. She did that scrunch face, and it's just like when tears don't come out, you can't do a face of strong emotion and tears don't come out. Tears come from strong emotion.
That's true. Unless you're a psychopath.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. That's something very traumatizing. I mean, something definitely went down. I mean, yeah, but I feel like he might be a little hot tempered. And it might be a part of a little man syndrome,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that definitely exists.
It's like I could just picture somebody holding his head and he's like swinging his arms up. Like, yeah. So
that's funny. That is funny. Well, today is also National One Hit Wonder Day.
Hey.
I don't know when this shit started. I don't know who started it, but today is that day. So, Joy, do you have a one hit wonder that you would like to shout out, or a couple?
Yeah, I do. Let me just say this. I feel like this is an important day because without our one hit wonders, there are certain jams we would not hear in the club. You know, like there have been like them one hit wonders. They made hits that played for years. Like, so I mean, they never made a song, but they getting their royalties and commercials and all kinds of shit. Who is it? Mark Morrison. I think LJ said earlier that Return of the Mac. Hey, Return of the Mac. Come on, Return. And I don't know why, but I always feel so player when I hear that song.
It's a player song, though. That's why.
It is, huh?
It's a player song. You know what I mean? It's for players that kind of lose they player card because they get wrapped up with the wrong one, and then they get that shit back at some point. You feel me? Like I've been in that situation many a time.
It sounded like you was going down memory lane just now, honestly.
Oh yeah, always. You know what I mean? I'm a very nostalgic person, so I've had to play that song to get my spirits up many a time.
Yeah, I love that song.
It's a great song.
It is. It really is like Return of the Motherfucking Mac.
Right.
So that one, oh my God. Now, I don't know if they made any other songs, but I think this is the only song I remember. And I forgot what their name was, but you remember that song, and I think of you.
Yeah.
If your game is on, give me a call, boo. Yeah, that was my song.
Yeah,
that one song. That was just like the summer hit. I didn't even have a boo, but I felt like I did. At night, I think of you. Yeah, so
yeah, we had that one. We had Teach Me How to Dougie. We ain't never heard from them dudes again.
Hey, they be like smooth. What? Yeah. That was it. That put Cali out. Well, they was from Cali, right?
I mean, their name was Cali Swag District, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like they was from up north, right? Or maybe I'm wrong.
Nah, they weren't from up north. I think they were from down here.
Oh, let me not make up lies. Okay. Yeah, that was a good one, though.
From Inglewood, California.
Really? And they had everybody doing the Dougie to this day. I be seeing videos of white people going hard in the paint doing it. They do it real like real particular, if you will.
Real stiff.
Yeah.
you gotta be limber. You gotta be limber for that one.
Right.
For the Dougie, you gotta be limber.
You can't be proper. You gotta, kind of let it loose like juice.
uh, but yeah. Teach Me How to Dougie, Laffy Taffy was a one hit wonder.
Yes.
Um,
That
there's a lot
laughing
of
tap.
one.
Let me stop.
Yeah, I would really credit that song for what is it? What do they call it? Snap Jam, Snap. For the whole Snap movement.
Oh yeah, because
You know what I
everybody
mean?
was snapping. I
Yeah.
snap to this day.
Yeah. What is it? What's the E40 Lil Jon song?
Oh,
Snap
snap
your
your
fingers,
fingers.
do your dance. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Hey, that was the
Hey,
show.
okay. Why was it though? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there
The
was all
snap
types of
movement was
hits.
it.
The snap movement was set off by D4L. So we gotta put a little respect
Yeah.
on that name. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Just a
They
little
did
bit.
set off more. Yeah. And I not to take away from our one hit wonders because we call it one hit wonder, but there's different reasons why. I won't necessarily say sometimes it's just because they didn't have the means or the sources. Because like we were saying earlier, we couldn't think of it, but we know Diddy got hella one hit wonders. I mean, you know what? She's not really a one hit wonder, but maybe a one album wonder. And I actually really liked her. What's her name? Tierra Marie. She was like on the little love and
Uh,
hip hop shows. She was
uh,
on. She was like, "Do I have to how to home? What's that song?
Let me look
I
it
know
up.
how to make a girl feel, make her feel." It was a song by
Yeah, I remember
Tierra
that song.
Marie.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
song.
are there any guys around that know how to make a girl feel? Well, she
Yeah.
had like, she was signed to Rockefeller.
Oh,
Um,
she was? Okay.
yeah, I believe, yeah. And she had that one song, and I believe she had an album. She's actually a good artist, and it seemed like she just never came back from that. She's been on Love and Hip Hop and all of that, but I don't want to call her a one hit wonder, but she definitely had that one song where you could see her potential as an artist, even the video. So sometimes I feel like these one hit wonders, I like to give them credit for this day because their
Yeah.
shit added some bounce to the culture.
Yeah, no, 100%. Apparently,
Yeah.
she's been in the news lately. 50 Cent hired a private investigator to track her
Oh yeah.
down and give
Yeah,
her
they got a
papers.
loss. They got a lawsuit going on right now.
Yeah, what is that about? What's going on there?
They've had some beef. I've heard it's been some words exchanged between them. 50.
50, he just,
You know
he the beef,
50.
that's the beef king right there.
Yeah, he didn't beef with Madonna. He's still hurting Lil Kim's feelings. You know
Oh, my
what
nigga
I'm
50 Cent is
saying?
like a real life adult bully.
He don't even care who you are. He bully his own son. He don't care who you are.
Right. He like the black version of Biff from fucking Back to the Future.
Oh, hey, I can't remember that. Damn. Now I gotta go watch that.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
he's definitely a bully, but yeah, they're beefing. But hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she gonna win that, but if she do, hopefully she can get in the studio and make some money. She's known, but she had that one hit. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of one hit wonders that have added to the catalog of pop culture in a big way, big splashes. And you could argue that the culture wouldn't be quite the same without them. So we give them tribute, we give them
Take our
honor
hats off. Yeah.
on today, September 25th,
Yes.
National One Hit Wonder Day.
Yes. Happy National One Hit Wonder Day.
Now, other news stories that have popped off this week. Um, Kanye, your boy Kanye, has been in the news. I guess him and LeVar Burton got beef.
No.
uh, Shots fired from LeVar Burton. That shit is wild.
He said, anyway, let's really put it into perspective, nigga.
Right. So I guess Kanye, I didn't read the interview, but Kanye was in some interview. Was this a recent interview? Joy, maybe you know a little bit more information about this story.
Yeah, it was a recent interview, and he was touching on a spectrum of things. But in one part of the interview, he mentioned that he not that he so he wasn't like bragging or boasting about it, but he was just saying he was like, I really don't read. He was like, I don't read. He was like, I maybe like audiobooks, but as far as reading goes. Like I don't do that. And it wasn't anything he was digging into. And you know what? I wish I could remember. I watched the interview a couple times actually. Well, that part of the interview. So he wasn't bragging about it, but I just feel like you telling people that you don't read, and that's not true.
Well, it says here in his quote from the interview, I actually haven't read any book. Reading is like eating
Right.
Brussels sprouts for me.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and talking is like getting the Giorgio Baldi corn ravioli. Now, I don't know what that last part means. I'm guessing that's some high class food
Mm,
or some shit. So
yeah.
he would rather talk and learn that way versus reading, which is, I would argue is probably a common thing that people share or feel. But I understand where you're coming from as well, and I agree with it that that's not necessarily the message that you want to be putting out there for such a young audience. I would imagine that his audience covers a large spectrum in age, but he does have a large influence on the young people out there. So kind of saying that he doesn't like to read is going to affect how other people feel about reading just because of his
Hmm.
celebrity, and the fact that he said like reading is like eating Brussels sprouts for me. And we all know, yeah, Brussels sprouts might suck, but that's not to say that nobody should be eating Brussels sprouts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a bunch of
Right.
nutrition in that shit that you need, regardless of if you like it or not. If you are a child or a young adult, you need to be reading because a lot of, your brain is developing and that will foster its development um, through reading. You know what I mean?
It will. It brings another level of like
Comprehension.
reading. Yeah, reading
Conscious.
comprehension is important, and a lot of people, they don't take the time to read. Just like how you read to me what he said, I was
Right.
able to take in and remember it better than watching the interview. I
Right.
remember, you know what I'm saying, because of reading it. When you read things, you can understand it on a different level. Even listening to audio. Now he said he don't read books, so maybe he reads articles, maybe he reads other things, but I still wouldn't just leave it at that. Even if that's your
Right.
personal thing, your audience
Right.
is going to be people that look like you. We have come a long way from not even being allowed to even fucking read this low
Right.
vibrational ass language.
Right.
And I understand where he's coming from. I'm gonna just mix in my little astrology. Him being a Gemini people are very communicative people. They're very direct,
Right.
and
Right.
they
Right.
don't have a
Yep.
and
Yeah.
they
Yep.
don't have a problem speaking. They're very direct with their speech. So I understand that, but a wise man is going to listen. And so sometimes it does pay to just be quiet and just read, and not even like, just, you don't always have to hear yourself talking to learn. Sometimes it's okay to absorb the information through just intaking it and let it just sit with you. But I know, I mean, he likes to hear himself talk, you can tell.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Clearly.
so it's like you don't read books. Well, we can tell by some of your decision making, to be honest with you. You might be a billionaire, and I think that that's wonderful, but a
uh,
billionaire can't replace humility and sagacity, and
yeah.
really and wisdom, and just understanding the basics of life. So you say you don't read books, and I totally believe you, because you're in this situation with your contract with Adidas or whatever the fuck's happening. Maybe if you did pick up a book, maybe you would have had better forehand on making your decision with them. Maybe you
Yeah.
would know how to do something a little bit more self-sufficient for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that like I'm just self-sufficient. Clearly, I'm not, but I do read, and I don't take that opportunity for granted that I can get information from somewhere else. A lot of the times, people are sharing information and they're not even spewing it out right, like I just did. I was like, maybe he said audiobook. That nigga didn't even say anything about an audiobook, but we hear
Right.
things and we take that information. If you read it, you can download it and perceive it in a different way. Um, so It's like, people are looking up to you. You have people that are calling you a genius because you are in a lot of aspects, but at the same time, you dumb.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Because
I
why you
agree.
telling
You know what I
that? And
mean?
your mom was a scholar. Shut up.
Yeah,
Shut up.
right,
Your mama made
right.
you don't like reading books because your mama made you read them. I know that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
I mean,
have to
that's
be
one
in your
thing people
house to
need to
know it.
realize. People got to realize that about Kanye is he, and not to say that he purports or comes off as like he's from the hood or whatever, but compared to a lot of rappers, he did have like kind of an upper hand at life because of his mother being a scholar or being a college. She was a college,
Educator. Yeah.
English professor, and
Hmm.
so he comes from a
English
household
professor
that
at
was
that.
educated. He comes from a household that was
Yeah.
educated, so you know uh, he's
And he
definitely a
speaks
gifted
well. He
person.
definitely reads.
Yeah. What I
He over
mean?
there
If he
lying.
doesn't read currently, he definitely read when he was a youth. And so when he has interviews like that, he should just add that into the context. What I mean? Context is
Yeah.
everything.
They
So
like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts is good.
yeah, yeah, depending on how you cook them, they could be real good. Yep.
Yeah. You just need to learn how to cook.
Right, all right, right,
That's what
right,
that
right,
is. You
right, right.
talking about they like Brussels sprouts. Well, tell that to somebody else. Don't tell that to somebody. You already telling people. My thing is you say that, and then you have people looking at you and making these decisions, these other artists or these other people in general. And I say that because I've actually always been like a Kanye fan, even through him going through certain things. But he has just said too many things that are, and I don't want to divert too much, but he's just said too many things to me that hurt us as a people. It's okay to keep it private, keep it family business. Don't go
Right.
out and share this to the world and have people thinking that this is how we're all thinking. I'm not agreeing with you on that. So he's just said a few things where I'm like, you need to think before you speak. Just like what did he say? Slavery was an option. Nigga, you need to
Right.
pick up a book. Maybe you need to pick up a book and read Red, Black, and White. Maybe you need to pick up a book and read African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Africa. Maybe you need to pick up a book and read Kindred. You know what I'm saying? Pick up a book and learn some history about what has happened before you just say some dumbass money shit like that. Because I bet you, if you don't have no pocket and no asset, no money in your pockets, and you didn't have no assets, you really wouldn't feel like that. Slavery
Right.
is an
Speak
option,
on it.
and and you're talking, and he even said, he was like, he mentioned him being a slave included, but it's like, no, it's still not an option. Stop it. If you really want to go deep into the rabbit hole, we can do it. Don't say shit like that because it's damaging to our brains. We pick up
Yeah.
this information and we hold on to it. Then you have younger people. Now you have the social media. So people have access to these interviews more than ever. We didn't get this when we were teenagers, not like we're so old, but I we didn't have this much access to interviews to our favorite artists. In order to get the fucking interview, you read it in the magazine, in the source. You read it, and you know what I'm saying? It was like MTV started interviewing artists, and VH1 and behind the scenes and all that, all those formal interviews. But now all these big podcast interviews that you have online. So you need to watch what you're saying. Talking about
Yeah.
you don't read books. Shut up. Why? Because your
Yeah.
wife was? Shut up. Shut up, liar. Over here.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what I mean. Like Kanye, I agree with you on so many levels on this topic. Kanye, as much as I love him for his outspokenness, I really do admire that, and I love that, and I embody that on this platform. I try to be as no
Yeah.
holds barred as possible. At a certain, you also have to balance that with who you're affecting. What I mean? This
Mm-hmm.
platform is meant for to inspire and to encourage and to motivate our blacksmiths out there, which may or may not be black people. I think for the most part, That's our target audience. But we want to do that for everybody, but specifically the Black community. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
when you putting out these messages talking about slavery was a choice and shit like that, you know, what are you saying about our people? You know what I mean? What are you saying about our people as a whole? What are you saying when you make a song talking about marrying a gold, or I'm sorry, staying away from gold diggers, but then you go ahead and marry the top notch gold digger? Now, like it wasn't a surprise. Like everybody knew
Right.
she was gonna leave you eventually, dummy. You fucked
Right.
with
And
the
you
bag
now
with that hoe.
you over here trying to hit up our what's his name? Ray J for fucking videos and to
Right.
put the clues together.
You know what I
You
mean?
know what I'm
Like
saying?
it's just a lot of contradiction that comes from him, which is what I can't fuck with. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't know which Kanye I'm dealing with today. Like, is it the old Kanye? Is it the new Kanye? Is it the
Right.
crazy Kanye? Is it the sane one? Is it the
Right.
musical
Is it the
genius
happy
Kanye?
one?
Or is it
Right.
the totally out of his mind cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Kanye? Which one is it?
He been
I,
that lately. 1 minute, yeah. It's just like, yeah, you can't be putting out that kind of dangerous information. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be unstable with your damn self. Tell people that slavery for you is an option and that you
right,
chose to be a
right,
cotton picking nigger and not read.
right.
You tell people that you decided to put, you know what I'm saying, a blindfold over your eyes. I don't know about you, but I like to read. I like to read because of how informative it is. A lot of people ask me, they're like, you know so much. How do you know so much? I just read little things here and there. I read.
Yeah,
You ain't got to read a whole book every day, but
yeah,
it helps. You know what I'm saying? You read something a little bit about everything, you will know a little bit about everything. You know what I'm saying? And then you can contribute to society with some of those things. You just spewing out shit from the top of your ego. That's why you need to read, so that you talk from facts and educated subjects and not just from your ego. Everything. That's why the things that he says, they don't have a foundation. Not
yeah,
all of them, you know.
yeah.
So
Not everything.
yeah,
Yeah, you
blacksmiths
know.
read. Don't listen to Kanye. Pick up a
Yeah,
book.
please,
You know,
please,
pick up a
please, please.
magazine article, read things online, take the time, read, you know, don't go he talking about he don't read, but then he'll be around during election time, go out and vote. Shut up. Why? You know what? Actually, I don't know if he's ever said vote, but it's just so funny that they all say that. You know, it's like y'all tell us to do this, but then you got somebody out here talking about you don't read. Well, how are we making decisions?
Right. Well, I mean, that kind of goes into you know, the main topic that we want to cover for today, and that is the music industry signing artists to 360 deals. And you know, I'm much less versed on this topic than you and LJ. So LJ, if you are free and able to come on and come into the conversation, that would be much appreciated. But you know, Kanye himself was a victim, I believe, at one point in time to a 360 deal or a bad contract, which he might have been able to circumvent and avoid altogether had his ass been reading. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So you know, like especially as an artist, like artists are so vulnerable to these record labels that draw up what I assume is dozens of pages of legal
Hmm.
jargon that can be hard to decipher, which is first and foremost why you need to have a lawyer before you sign anything. You know what I mean? Like anything, especially
Hmm.
when it comes to this money where they're fronting you millions of dollars. You think they're not covering their ass? So you better
Right.
do the same and cover your ass by reading that contract, getting somebody who is a lawyer or well versed in the field of contracts to read it for you on your behalf, and make sure that you're getting an equal share of rights and leverage.
Yeah, that you can negotiate your terms, even if, you know, because some of these things, I feel like they have a lot of hidden things in these contracts. I've never seen them, but I've seen a contract and, you know, they have their little hidden fine print, but then some things are just plain out there. Those are things you can ask questions about. Those are things you can negotiate on. But if you don't know how to read because you don't read, you won't even know that the shit's right there that they're telling you, oh, we're going to take most of it. You're only getting $1 a year.
Right. Yeah. Other artists that have been really fucked by contracts are in the dozens, if not the hundreds. We hear about these stories all the time. Are there
Yeah,
any
all the
other
Diddy
artists
artists.
that you guys know about specifically that have been fucked? No lube?
Yeah, it's like let's say 75% of the people in hip hop are getting screwed over the first time. You know, it's probably even higher than that. But then when you think about the invention of the 360 deal, it came about so that the major labels could compete with streaming. Once streaming happened, artists figured out that they could be independent, and then they pretty much gained a new sense of like empowerment for themselves. So the labels come in and they say, well, shit, if we can't compete with the streaming thing right now, how about we just get a piece of everything that any artist we sign does? Because we're going to put up the money to get them distribution and promotion, all that type of shit, marketing. But we need more money to come in. So, you know, you ask if about anybody specific. Like, there are so many artists, and I kind of feel weird just like putting out like people on blast like that. But I'll say it like this: there are artists, or maybe it's better to just explain what a 360 deal is first.
Mm-hmm.
So an artist signs up with this company, they sign 360 deal. It really means that the label is getting a percentage of everything that you bring in as an artist. So 360 degrees around the table. So it might have been at one point it was just like music sales and obviously album sales and maybe like something from your shows. Maybe that's what they would get. And then you'd be popular enough, you might get a movie role, you might be a TV, you might have a product that you endorse, something like that, and that would be your money. Now they want a piece of all that, all your merch, everything you got going. You do a Cadillac commercial, they got a piece of it. So it's a little bit of everything. And it's crazy because, you know, that has nothing to do with music. That has nothing to do with why you got signed. And, you know, I think about a cat like Tupac, you know, you brought him up earlier, super, super talented. He didn't have a 360 deal, but just imagine cats who are multi-talented, who could rap and who can act, and they'll get these opportunities to be in a movie, and the label didn't even help them get that role. You know what I'm saying? But bread. So they get into these deals because with streaming, you're not making much money off the music. So the labels have to survive. So they're going to take a little bit of everything. And that's pretty much how those things work. But it sucks because for artists that come in thinking that things are going to be a certain kind of way, in terms of I'm gonna sign this deal for $1 million. I'm gonna come out with the album. They're gonna recoup, and then after I do 4 or 5 albums, whatever the number is I signed up for, I'm gonna be out of my deal, and then I have better negotiation rights, and I have more leverage to up my deal with another label or with the label I'm at. But when you're in this situation where they're taking a piece, if you owe $1 million and you making money over here and over there and over here, and they getting a piece of it, but that money don't go towards the principal of the $1 million, you're gonna be in that deal for a long fucking time.
Well, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
People be in these deals for a long time, and then it seems like also there are other restrictions aside from them taking pieces of things. Just me gathering this when I see certain artists talk on these platforms, they also don't really have the option to really dictate their release dates for certain things or which songs should be released when. You know, I've seen a lot of times they're like, sorry, y'all, I want to release a song. The label's holding it back, maybe because of politics or other artists releasing things,
Right.
So it just seems like these artists,
like, you know what's crazy? Like, let's say an artist, like, let's say you, Joy, you're an artist, you get signed, to a deal. They love your style. You come out with a hit song, and people love it. So now people love you, and the label loves you. But then after a while, maybe people aren't checking for you like they were at first.
Mm-hmm.
The label will say, "Look, we need you to do a song with Little Bang Bang Shoot 'Em Up," and you like, I don't make music like that. I don't do a song with no artist.
Right.
They say, okay, we're gonna take your little artist profile, we're gonna put you on the shelf until you start doing what the fuck we talking about. And if you don't do that song with Bang Bang Shoot 'Em Up, you might never see the light of day. And if you don't see the light of day, you don't get the budget to make a new album. You're in this contract now. And now you have to be creative and figure out a way to make some bread to buy yourself out. But if you only got a little spark when you started, it's gonna be hard to do that after. You know what I mean? And they know that. They know that. So once you sign these deals, you know, slavery begins. You feel me? You gotta buy your way out of that bitch. You better be popping with some good ass music, or it's gonna be an uphill battle. You know? And there's so many artists right now coming out. It's tough. It's tough.
It is. That's why I mean, it's been a slow run for me. You see, I've been doing music for a long time and I don't have anything like officially released because I choose to be independent and do and budget myself. And that's a lot of it. These people sign these deals for the budget. All they see is the money because I'm sure even though those contracts, like Chris said, are like 12 pages long, what they're really highlighting for these artists are the money and the fame. They're feeding on emotion in these contracts. I'm sure that they're having these contracts at a nice 5-star restaurant. They're signing these, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's manipulation when these contracts are being signed, which is why it's important to read. Yeah. They're probably not even signing these shit sober, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, all types of shit, you know? People get signed, yeah. It's like a stack of money right in front of their face. They say, look, you signed this piece of paper. There's a video out. I might be able to find it and pull it up. There's a video of this label signing this deal. They're signing this cat to, they gave him like $20,000. Not a lot of money, but
yeah,
they give him straight cash. And they probably got it in $20 bills. You feel me? So that looked like a lot of bread in front of you. It's like,
yeah, 20,000 is nothing.
Yeah, it ain't shit. That ain't shit. And then they say, this is yours right here, you know, big fella. You just take this, whoop, whoop, sign right here, and it's all yours. And the artist was like excited, you know. There was people all around. They popping a bottle of champagne. They got a few bottles of Dom Perignon, Ace of Spades. They know how to dress it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the artist is like, before he signs, he's like, oh, I ain't signing my life away, am I? Ain't none of these niggas say no. They laughed about it. Ha 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 ha. Let's make sure you sign on this. Real shit. I really seen that. And I was like, damn. Nigga look young too. So it's like, he was smart enough to ask a real question, but he wasn't smart enough to have a lawyer, you know, back to Chris's point. And he wasn't thorough enough to double down on the question. You feel what I'm saying? In the moment. So, shit like that.
Yeah, that's sad, man. That's really sad. I mean, yes. We were talking about earlier this week how, you know, a lot of these artists are super young and don't come from very comfortable situations. You know what I mean? These artists are hungry because not only are they broke, but they probably, you know, got a lot of family issues. They come from broken backgrounds, etc. So when somebody comes out of nowhere and presents a whole fucking bag, I mean, what do you expect them to do? And that's why these record labels are particularly predatory, because they prey on disadvantaged people already.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, for sure. But I do want to take one little opportunity to say this about them. They do benefit certain artists. If you're a brand new artist coming into the game, it's not the right move. If you Jay-Z, that's a great move. Because you're Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? You're already got a fan base. You got a guaranteed following. And if label, first off, they're not going to give you $100,000. They're not even going to give Jay-Z $1 million. They're going to give that nigga $10, $20 million. They might even $10 million a year for 5 years, $50 million. But they want to get a piece of everything he do. A cat like Jay-Z show up 3 times a year. Yeah, go ahead. Take a little piece of this. I'm not coming out that much. When you're a brand new artist, you got to hit the road, Chitlin Circuit. You got to hit every show, every club. You got to be out there on the road.
You have to really get yourself out of that principal debt, like you were saying. Just that before you can even, these people be big. But I remember Cisco saying something. What was he? Maybe it was something on MTV. He was being interviewed, or maybe VH1, and he was saying, he was like, by the time we finished selling our first album, he was like, I literally had enough money to buy a pair of shoes.
Crazy.
He said, I had enough money to buy a pair of shoes. He said that. He was like, he was like, the money that you get back in return as an artist and look how big Dru Hill was. Look how big Cisco was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me see, that thong was huge.
Song was crazy, but like they'll do shit like they'll say like you're in a meeting and some bullshit. They just gave you a contract. That shit 45 pages and they want you to sign it right now. And you like, damn, I need a lawyer. They be like, oh yeah, don't trip. You got a lawyer? Nah, I'm gonna find one. Oh, don't trip. We got a lawyer for you. That lawyer worked for them. You know what I'm saying? So he probably wrote the contract already up. He's like, oh yeah, this is good. You're gonna get this 100,000. Whatever it is, and you're gonna be fine. You get to walk out with it. They'll just give you like the light shit, $100,000 for 4 albums, 5 albums, and that sounds good, but that's a death contract.
Yeah, you literally signing your life or signing your soul over to the devil.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
In them contracts, they say like, we now own the name Joy. So even when you out of your contract with them, they still own your likeness.
Oh no! Now that I can't.
That's
talking about like the publishing.
No, I'm talking about your brand. Like think about Prince was Prince, and then they owned his name Prince, so he had to come back as the artist formerly known as Prince and make a sound. They've been doing that type of shit.
Yeah, because they still use the likeness of people like him. You know what I'm saying? You see these Michael Jackson shirts, these Prince shirts. You know what I'm saying? Did people?
It's not just I made a Prince shirt. No. Niggas is coming for it. You know what I'm saying? Niggas, somebody.
Yeah, and not the artist, Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a cold game out here.
It's crazy.
Cold game.
Speaking of that, though, y'all both mentioned it, talking about signing your life away. Speaking on that, I'm starting to believe, and this is my own conspiracy theorist type thoughts, but I feel like there's clauses in there that allow, I'll say this, it's ironic, especially with these rappers who are signing these new age contracts who are just passing away. And it's a certain label that's become popular for their artists passing away.
Yeah, Empire.
And it's just, yeah.
Was I not supposed to say that? Let's put these niggas on blast.
Let's call them out. Do it. We can.
So,
it's a lot of, yeah.
That's a Bay Area label.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the guy who owned it, Ghazi, he grew up in San Francisco.
That nigga shady.
Wow.
I don't know, man. I can't confirm that, but it is a San Francisco label for sure.
I mean, people dying on that label, right?
People dying on every
label. Come on now.
Who's been signed to it and who has been who has passed away while being signed to that label?
Young Dolph.
I'll pull it up. Young Dolph was one of them. There was another one right after Gunna and Thug went to jail too.
Yeah, they kept him in 03, who was from Dallas. He was on not 300. He was on Empire. I know that he was murdered not too long ago. There may be other ones, but they're an independent label, and they just help people get more exposure, distribution. I don't know if they're at fault for why people get murdered.
But here's the thing. There's a coincidence. And there are other media outlets that are noticing there is a trend. This is no coincidence. These aren't just rappers, like we were saying. These are Black men Why and how are these black men just getting killed? And it's
I mean,
just
shit, I think it's aspects of it. You know, these cats come from the neighborhood. They have a certain kind of past, and they put this kind of content in their music. It's not
and they
like
said these artists had their masters though. These artists who passed away had their masters. They
yeah,
said Dolph Vaughn, Mo3.
no three,
They said Nipsey died with his masters too.
but Nipsey did a
He
deal.
wasn't signed.
Nipsey did a deal with Atlantic Records. Ain't got nothing to do.
But I mean, that's true. I'm just noticing the correlation though. These people that have their masters, we were just saying that how these labels still use these people for their likeness and all of that. That's a lot of power to be able. Can't you control your distribution once you have your masters? Because what is your masters? It's like your whole
On the master recording, you pretty much can you own it. So the royalties that come in from that, anytime the song is played or is put out there, you know,
you're
comes back to
you're your own music company basically, right? If you have your masters, is it kind of like that? I mean, you could still be
you
so
just have more leverage, you have more control. You know, you can say where the music goes. If you gave your masters to me, if I owned your masters, I could put your music in a commercial, and I don't have to pay you for it.
right. That's what they was doing like that.
Well, isn't that publishing though?
Yeah, but I mean, you have to own.
What's the difference between masters and publishing?
Publishing is when you have your music associated with a publishing house, you know, like an ASCAP or a BMI.
Mm-hmm.
But people usually do deals with these.
Like you have your publishing rights, like you get paid for your own publishing and writing, right?
Right, and then exactly for writing the song. So, like, let's say somebody did a cover of your song, and then that song blew up. You own the publishing, so you're gonna get a majority of that money back. But if you just own the master recording, and let's say if somebody else owns it, you come out with the song, and they could put somebody else on the song saying your lyrics. You own it. Now, whoever owns it, they could make choices like that, you know. And then when you don't own the masters, like someone like R. Kelly, he doesn't own any of his masters. So the song's
and that's why they were able to take his shit off. Well, they probably would have did it anyway.
Still get royalties, but
okay,
he gets but what he could be getting if he owns his shit is so much different. Because let's say like right now he's banned. Don't nobody fuck with R. Kelly, right? So they could even really shut him out, like never have his music on the radio, nowhere out, and then he won't make no money because he's not in control of where the music goes. He don't own it. You know what I'm saying? But when it does get out and when it does generate some money, he obviously gets a cut. But not
this shit's crazy. See, this is why it's important to read, you know, because like I said, I think that they definitely got some clause in here. Like I know this is just talk. I don't have any numbers on this, but everybody is able to notice the trend with these artists in these situations and these deals. It's even artists like Meg, who's talking about, I don't know the whole details on her, but she's always arguing with her label. She's always going through some up and downs. And I'm like, you have this money, you have this and that. But again, a lot of this be illusions. Like we were talking about cribs. A lot of these people have rented their cribs, rented their cars, because they still got to pay back the principal costs on these deals. But when it comes to like these rappers, what we were talking about, they got these rappers not only in a deal where they've sold their soul, but the other aspect of it is what you were saying, okay, they need money. They come from broken homes. They've come from a lifestyle where it's been hard for them. It's been tough. They've been days without eating. Nobody knows what that feels like, but somebody who's been there, seeing family members on drugs, like really broken down homes, like seeing people get their head cut off with swords and all kinds of shit. People don't think about that when, you know what I'm saying? But this is what these young men see. And then they sign these contracts. Well, it also makes me think what other people have said about them, these labels taking out insurance contracts on them, because you come from the hood. It's not like you had a clean record. Some of these niggas been in jail so many times. So who's to say that they weren't even running from somebody already before they got signed?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? So they like, oh, we're going to get money on this nigga because we already did the statistic. He only going to live till 35 anyway with this kind of.
Yeah. and they do all that math, before they sign somebody. They got an idea how fast, how much money you're gonna make. Now, some people finesse the labels, but to just what I'm saying, like they do the math before they even give you the contract. They got an idea how much money you're gonna make. Everyone knows about the sophomore slump, so your first album gonna go crazy. Second album, maybe not. You probably gonna forget about your ass second album. People have successful second album, and the ones that do are usually like some of the greater artists. You feel what I'm saying? But like to your point, like they understand certain shit about the economics behind the game, and they also know shit like he's beefing with him, and he's beefing with them, and in this tour, we got him going to his hood 4 times. They know that. You know what I mean? They got connections in these certain venues and stuff like that, and they know like this person got beef with this person, blah blah blah. Like think about Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's famous for snitching on a bunch of niggas, if you didn't already know. And he had to get a lot of security after he did that whole deal because he's still a music artist right now. He had to get so many.
It's something weird about him.
He's dealing with this beef that he had by snitching on these folks, but he still shows in certain areas. You feel what I'm saying? He's still trying to make a living, and the labels know that. And it's like you got to get all these security guards. They charging $400 a day, and you're not with one security guard like a nigga like him,
right?
A security guard. So just think about that, and that don't go towards. I mean, you even more in debt. If you're in a situation.
Yeah.
You mean? You ain't even sold no music yet.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's important. Like, I don't know, maybe I've read that actually the Canadian government, they actually have they have a sector of their government that dedicates resources to artists because they very much so support it. We need something like that. We're not where it's coming from these private labels or these corporations that can hide behind LLCs or whatever the case may be. We need a real artist budget because a lot of it for each state, for these rappers, it needs to be a serious thing. Being an artist is an actual career. So why don't we have a sector of our government that's dedicating resources for that, just like you do it for any other job field, for nursing? And yeah, we have these colleges for school and all that, but really, like, what about these artists? We don't have a budget, a safe budget. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to school, yeah, you got to pay back that loan, but you ain't gonna get killed over it. I don't know a lot of college students that's just passing away, getting shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they live this lifestyle, but there's definitely something behind it. You just hear so many melancholic and weird stories that are tied with these labels, you know what I'm saying? Versus the independent artists, they seem a little bit more happy. They're a little bit, their budget might not be as up there, but there's a lot more artists that are taking the independent way. It seems safer all around, especially for these rappers. It's tragic because these men aren't even making it to 35, 30,
right?
Not even 40. 40 is young. How you only live until you like 28, 30? You passing away in front of, and even like Thug Baby Mama who got killed. What the hell happened?
Who?
Young Thug? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Right, a little bit before he got locked up, and I think that might have been something that kind of triggered it. She got murdered. One of his baby mothers. Yes, may she rest in peace. So now you got those babies, and that ain't got nothing to do. I'm sorry, but that has something to do with that. I just know that. I know that. Yeah, I can't prove it.
I mean, and that's like sticky situations. You know what I mean? Just being affiliated, it can get you caught up. You know?
Yeah.
And it's all good when you're hanging out with somebody that's making good music and they're able to pay for everything. But then when shit gets real, shit gets real.
But maybe she probably didn't even know all that was going on. Who knows what's going on? These labels know they need to be held accountable for their artists. There needs to be, I think you were saying something about the reason why less accountability is held on them.
Well, I mean,
You were talking.
it's like, yeah, they don't want to be liable. You know, they don't want to be caught in it because they are generating billions of dollars, hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. If they get caught up in some of that shit, you know, there's lawsuits everywhere. But I was listening to somebody talk about an interesting approach that could happen, like how something could change the way the labels end up doing business. So just follow me here. If a rapper says, or if a rapper is having beef with another rapper, right, and then this rapper right here says something like, "I'll kill your mom," in the record, and then someone puts an attempt on this rapper's mom in real life, and the mom sues the label for putting that song out and being able to connect that, like, this person said this in this song, and they, you know, that this person was beef with this person, and then someone really tried my life, which was something that happened in the song, you know, they could really lose the case. Like, and if they were to lose a case for $100-200 million, that's serious business. That would make the label think twice about the type of shit that they are putting out there, because they're not really taking no backlash financially. You know, people could say, fuck this label. Artists come out all the time and just be like, my record label is screwing me over. Fuck this label. Fuck them. Fuck. Them niggas come out.
And they don't care because they still fucking you.
Hell up, little nigga.
Yeah, they don't care because they still fucking you. Yeah, they're that. And I think there needs to be some
record and keep making money off your dumb ass.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel me? But when they financially hit, shit changed. You know, everybody follow the dollar. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and if they got to get in front of a judge, and then they got to pay up for some shit, and I think that this situation I just was explaining, something like that actually happened. I don't know the exact details, but something similar actually happened to somebody, and I think the label had to pay up a lot of money. And if that happened more often, label's not gonna be fucking with this drill music or any kind of shoot 'em up bang.
Yeah, they should. Their shit would be negative. Their shit would be negative. I know the content of these songs. You know, I'm aware.
J. Cole's out here. You know what I'm saying? Just talking.
They would be in debt.
Washing laundry and shit.
Washing laundry, or just talking about other shit that's valuable. Or other shit that's valuable, shit that's really going on besides sipping the lean, besides killing old boy from down the block, aside from the haters, aside from throwing shade, because we know the real niggas is throwing shade. And why we not talking about that? That used to be talked in the music. Our hip hop music used to be where you report the news, and now it's niggas dropping other locations. It's a problem because now it's not being a voice for us, it's being a voice against us. And it's not supposed to be like that. And it's, I definitely think that they need to be held to some, you know, because these execs, they're like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, you're going to put that kill your mama, shoot your dog song out. Like they want, you know, no, we want it like that. Just like in acting, they want you to, you know, they sponsor all the Madea movies. And don't get me wrong, I think Tyler Perry's so talented. I love those movies, surprisingly. But I also feel like, they some of the characters are clownery.
Yeah.
I'm like, these ain't real niggas.
I definitely wouldn't have thought that you would have been a fan of the Madea.
No, you know why? Because I watched the plays before, and then sometimes when I'm, you know, smoking and I'm just like on that BET Blackbuster feel, you know, I be laughing at the movies because they be funny when you're high. But like in general, no, but I mean, and I like the fact that this man, he really, I think it's such a talent to write and put screenplays and stuff together. No matter if you like it or not, it takes time, it takes dedication. So I really respect people's art, even if it's not my favorite. But I feel like you got people who's representing us who like that ain't us, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like even with the artists, we do have artists who are really saying things, but it's really up to us to also we need to move out people who are empowered now. the people in power also need to be replaced, because them also, they not for us because they don't look like us.
Yeah, and
You
I think
seeing us out there.
it's a traditional thing, like not to cut you, but they set in ways with certain shit. There got to be a change of the guard. People
Yeah.
talking and thinking different ways, implementing different kind of shit. And I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Even though they're trying to put AI rappers in the game, I don't know how long that's going to fly, but I think that that is an example of how shit is really changing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there's got to be people at the top who are really trying to put some like real change in the air. It can't be the same shit.
Yeah, we can't keep having black men murdered because of these lyrics and all that. At the end of the day, these men are black men. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, and they're being taken away from families. It changes the family dynamic. It rolls, it trickles into just like PNB Rock. He has a child. His child has to grow. These children, how many households now do we have where they're growing up without their dads?
Yeah, right. And that's the biggest thing is like
accountability on everybody as a whole. Like even the artists themselves. Don't be at now. This is really how I feel, but I think even me about to say this is not fair. But if you know that you go into an establishment that's really in the hood, it's not like he didn't go to the Roscoe's that was like in Hollywood.
Right.
He went to the for some that know
the hoodest one.
The Roscoe's, the blood Roscoe's.
The hoodest.
He went to the hoodest one. So
yeah.
He got to take more accountability. I mean, well, God rest
he did.
I'm not trying to disrespect that man or nothing like that. All I'm saying is,
yeah,
we got to make smarter decisions. Like, you're not from here. There's a lot of people that's not from here that's trying to be in the neighborhoods and they don't understand the culture. Like
the hood politics.
It's gang culture.
Mm-hmm. Apparently he was from Philly.
Yeah,
and I think but that's still different hoods in LA.
It's different rules. It's different.
Yeah.
Rules. You know that. You go into somebody's house. Some people let you walk around with your shoes on. Some people say take your shoes off when you in my house. It's different rules and different environments. And it don't matter if you got a couple homies over here. They not really your homies. Look at Pop Smoke. He thought all the people that was in that house with him was his people.
That's heartbreaking.
He's the only one that gets murdered. So you got to be a little more, we got to be more smart just as a whole, as people. But for these artists, don't put yourself in the crosshairs. You know what I mean? I don't really think it was his lady's fault. I mean, I'm not even trying to go into the rock thing.
Yeah.
I think it was his lady's fault that he got murdered. I think it's the fault of the community. But don't put yourself in a place where you could be fooled. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because niggas is getting robbed in Beverly Hills. But
there was another rapper who was shot at. I can't even remember all that. He didn't die though. I think somebody, a part of his entourage, died.
Well, what's his name got shot 4th of July weekend or Juneteenth weekend. It was that dude that was talking shit about Nipsey's baby mama, Kodak Black.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, in West Hollywood. Yeah,
he got shot in West Hollywood. That's not the hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
West Hollywood is not the hood, but
yeah,
I mean, look, the danger is gonna find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Energy you put out, it's gonna find you, but don't go to it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't go to it.
But and I'm not trying to be funny, but this is why it goes back to this is why it's important to read. You know what I'm saying? You read, you educate yourself on different things in life in general, and it'll help you make better decisions in general, no matter what field you go into. These men need before they even sign to anything, there actually needs to be some type of therapy, some type of something, because they're artists, but they're not signing these men as artists. They're signing them as puppets or
pawns,
pawns. Not as artists, because as artists they need some kind of artist development. That's they need some type of nurturing, not just studio sessions and all that. They're coming from damaged homes into a whole different lifestyle of fame, and they don't know how to separate the two. his like, and I agree with you. Like, may that man rest in peace, because that it breaks my heart. But it's like, why did you go there? You are in a different status now, but they can't register that. They can't decipher the two because it happens so fast, because it's not really happening naturally. It's happening because these labels are pushing a certain manipulation. Oh, you signed, you talented. Here, let's, oh, you sing, oh, he rapping about this. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or else you get shelved. It's a real,
or you don't even get signed.
Right. Exactly.
You're not even getting it in the building.
Right. They're not paying attention to you in the first place. Right.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, this all goes to the point where, people should be on that Chance the Rapper tip. You know what I mean? Like, should make your own independent label. You know what I mean? Where you can make your own decisions as an independent fucking entity. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of artists are starting to do that. The ones who are learning and developing themselves. You can see rap artists who have learned to nurture other aspects of themselves and grow as artists all the way around. I mean, just to give you an example, like Snoop Dogg. I mean, you got Death Row. I mean, he was in an era where the shady record shit was going on, and he learned how to expand himself.
In there for every aspect of the game. Like, he was there when it was like they were selling tapes, they were selling vinyl records, then CDs, then streaming. Really, a guy like Snoop,
political environments. He was through all the rough shit too.
Yeah, I mean, murder was the case. He made a lot about that situation that he was actually in. I think a guy like Snoop has seen so much and he knows so much, and he really is the uncle. Like he really has helped a lot of artists that come out here trying to make it. And I think more people like him who understand the game could really help a lot of these newer cats, because they know what's going on on a macro scale. Because we got the technology and the streaming and shit, that stuff is 100% different, and it's not that much different. Like, shit is still dangerous. People will still, it's not sweet out here, and the labels try to manipulate. If they because they looking out for their best interest. Like, there's a stat, like, labels sign 50 people, and maybe out of those 50, 3 of them actually become stars. So they putting out a lot of money. They investing a lot into a lot of failures. You know what I mean? So maybe every now and then somebody cracks through, like a Donald Glover, who's like, not any of the shit that we had heard. His whole style is very unique.
Yeah, I like him.
But for the most part, it's far and few. You know what I mean? And they sign people, so they trying to cover their ass and make the most on the investment, because that one or two artist that blows up pays for all them other niggas that ain't.
Right.
That's
why nah, cap. Because as we already discussed, those artists that they signed, the 47 other artists that they signed, got to pay the money back. So the record label don't lose regardless.
But they don't. Like, you can't pay back money you don't have.
Oh, I see. So if they don't get signed.
No, it's just like, okay.
I see. Oh, I see what you're saying. They don't have it anyway. Yeah.
They just own me as an artist, or they drop me. And now I have on my profile, like,
or is it just that? That's what makes me wonder, though. Is it just that is what just happens? That could be another.
Hey, man,
I feel like they're gonna pay that money back one way or another.
Right, or they pay the money back, or another means. That was what I was. Yeah, I'm like, or do they just drop you? Yeah, that's a good point, Chris.
They drop you, cap to get you dropped. You know what I'm saying?
Don't pick up this person. Yeah.
These labels got money. The money that they invest in these artists is just a drop in the bucket.
It is.
It is
a drop.
Because
know,
you gotta keep in mind that, okay, say they do have to pay for all the other artists that didn't make it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But those record labels get paid for the perpetuity of that artist's life and even the life of the songs well after those artists pass away. So
Mm-hmm.
those record labels got buku fucking money coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Buku. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're
And that's
Yeah.
fucking people.
happening right now where people are just selling like their catalogs. So just think about these labels who have catalogs worth of artist stuff. They can just sell them to these sync farms or whoever these major
Right.
house or whoever it is that wants to buy these catalogs to put them in a Tide commercial or Frosted Flakes or whatever the hell. And these labels, you know, that's how they make their money back. Because there might be
Right.
somebody like a one-hit wonder. It's so funny how we talk about all these different topics in the lead up to it. There could be a one-hit wonder that did not, they didn't recoup. You know, like they didn't pay back the money that they was given.
Right.
And the label owns them. And then 10, 15 years down the line, Kia wants to use that Return of the Mac song. And the label that owns that song says, okay, it's going to cost you $20,000 every single time you play this Kia commercial. They play it enough times, they probably got their money back off of what he couldn't pay them back. You know, those
Mm-hmm.
are happening now too. Like they just said that Future just sold his catalog for I don't know. They said like $50 to $75 million. So hey, now somebody else.
Yeah. And even that, I feel like that's okay to a certain extent, but at the same time, again, you're just relinquishing so much power, because what if they decide that they want to do a commercial for something that you really don't advocate for as a person? Then you have no say.
You don't own it. That's not your. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. And I can't do that as a person who's very tied to her spirituality. That's why as an artist, it's, you know,
Future ain't got no soul.
He sure don't.
Yeah, he sold that shit a long time ago.
If you want to be
He
famous,
did.
the thing
He's
the
gone.
labels are like here to help get your brand seen all over the place in places you probably couldn't do individually. So if you want to be famous, you gotta go there. It's like no other way is happening. Like you gotta go there. Even with a guy like Chance the Rapper, he had to do a deal with Apple that's everywhere. He couldn't do it by himself. So it's really about what is it that you're trying to get out of this. You just want to have a fan base. You could be Goapole, have a nice song that people love, and then you could tour, hit the cities. You know, even a cat like I would say E40. Now E40, independent cat, but he has a great relationship with major labels. You know, so
I love him.
Whenever he wants to pop out, you know, he can.
He's one of the greatest. Yeah.
If you want to blow up, if you want everybody to love you, you know, you gotta go that route. But you don't have to go that route.
And that's what artists need to know. That's what they need to know, what we're saying. It's okay if what kind of artist do you want to be? Maybe you should know where you want to go and have some kind of artist development and support. And maybe depending on what you need, you won't need such a big budget.
Right.
Yeah.
And some people are really here for the artists. Like I gotta give a shout out to Ninth Wonder and Young Guru, who is Jay-Z's engineer. Now they have a label together called Jamla, where they put out Rhapsody, female rapper. When they put her out, you know, they really work on the artist development side. They help these artists understand the game, read the contracts with them, say, yo, when you get to a word that you don't understand, let's look it up together. Let's find out. And, you know, they're really trying to help these artists trying to do it another way. Now, you're not going to blow up overnight rocking with Jam.
Right.
But eventually, you know, like Rhapsody, you're going to get nominated for a Grammy. I mean, what she was.
Yeah.
She was, you know.
And she has a following, though. The people that fuck with her because she's a solid quality artist.
And she's not selling her ass.
Right.
Know? But
yeah,
how long are you willing to work at your craft and your business to get to that point? That's really what people got to they got to do that the inside, the shadow work. They got to really talk to God, figure it out. Because everybody, like, you know, they say like your first is your worst. So your first deal is gonna be your worst deal. You know, your first meeting, that's gonna be the worst meeting. You gotta be kind of in touch with what's really important to you. So that way when these people start talking that real talk, you already know what you're going for. You already know what you're not gonna go for. Not, you know, 360 deal. I don't even want to talk to people that's talking about 360 deal.
Right.
Like, different kind of intention when you move. But everybody is not knowledgeable about that. A lot of niggas is young and they broke. So it's like it's gonna go, you know what I mean? And some niggas, Kanye, some niggas want to be Jay-Z level, some people want to be Little Uzi level, you know, like that's one of the guys that has one of his deals. You know what I'm saying? Blew up. But you say
at least have this kind of conversation though first, like what we're having. You know, these kind of conversations help. I hope an artist who's looking hears this conversation and says, you know what, that's food for thought. Let me think about that, because you have people who are part of it who'll be like, come on, put it out, and I'll slide it to them. Come on, let's wait a minute. You need some words of wisdom. Even if you decide that you still gonna do it, at least you were able to really have like a balance to know your pros and cons. Like you said, it's pros and cons to both. Because even being an independent artist, your shit gonna look like you might have taped it on an Android. Sometimes clips of your video is gonna be from your flip phone. No, I'm lying. But you know, sometimes you know.
But if you're a good enough artist, that might look cool. You know what I'm saying? Like some artists, they own the fact that, you know, they walk around in sweatpants and flip flops. The nigga J. Cole is selling out arenas and he wearing sweatpants, basketball shorts.
Right. He wearing shit that you go to Target in. Yeah.
You don't got no wardrobe budget. He pocketing all that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So knowledge is important, kids. Make sure you read and
read and ask questions.
Yeah, there you go.
Ask questions, you know, and weigh out your options. You know, if you're ever in a tight space, don't ever just take you know, ask them questions. Because you don't want to, your life is important and you don't want to make some decision that you have to live with for the rest of it and not have a say so, you know, because you signed an arbitration agreement where you can't even say anything about it, or you can't sue over this. You know,
because it could get real ugly once you figure out you just got fucked, but then at the same time you can't even talk about how you got fucked, or we gonna sue you.
That's why they be talking in circles. They be like, you know, it's a lot behind it, and I can't really say much because
it's business. You know, when niggas start saying, well, you know, it's a business. Well, okay, you getting fucked.
Exactly. Huh? Like, they fucking you with spikes on the dick.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I mean that's why our Prince had, I know for like a lot of his shows, he would write slave on his forehead.
Really?
Y'all don't remember that? He wrote slave on his forehead because he knew he was caught up in his freedom as an artist and as a business person was taken away. He was shackled. And that's what a lot of artists are. They're shackled. They have once you sign that fucking contract, once you sign your life on that dotted line, it's over for you.
It's like the game begins. Like, good luck. You gotta. Now you're in the obstacle course. It's nothing but hoops and lava, traps, all types of shit. You know.
Yeah, because they're your priority. You know, I think that's why Lauryn Hill's asked to be late for her shows. At one point, one year, Mariah Carey in her shows, Mariah Carey was literally like, "Okay, y'all say the words." Yeah, okay, go on. Like literally she was doing that during the show, and people are like, why would she do that? I'm like, this woman is grown, she got kids, she probably don't even want to do a show no more. She probably signed a contract that says she has so much to fulfill in tour hours. I don't fucking know. And so I'm like, yeah, she's over it. When they talk about Lauryn Hill I'm like, because that bitch don't want to go to that show. I love Lauryn Hill too. She don't want to go.
Well, maybe
she's tired.
Came out with a second album is because she was able to just disappear without having all of the negative shit that came with her continuing to go down that route. Like, being rich off of one album.
Yeah.
That she's been rich off of one album.
I mean, that album was a masterpiece.
Right.
Yeah. It still
Right.
is to this day. Yeah.
To
It was a
this day.
masterpiece. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good little combo. Okay.
Yeah. We hope and pray that everybody out there listening takes these words of wisdom to heart, because we live in a world, not only a music industry, but a world ready to get trying to take your worth and your soul and your value
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
with no lose. So, protect, like I said last podcast, defense wins games. Out here in this
Hmm.
world, you got people trying to take what's yours. They trying to
Yeah.
take your land. They trying to take your DNA. They trying to take your money. They trying to take your family, your talent. I mean, come on now.
You know what?
We gotta
That might
wisen
have to
up.
be a reminder for our blacksmiths every time. Defense wins games.
Defense wins games. That might need to be our little hashtag or something. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, no, actually, because I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm glad that we were able to touch on this, because this was a topic that a lot of people need to hear, especially being based in LA, where I would imagine most of the people in our circles are artists of some sort. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And
if
thank
you
you,
want
LJ, for dropping in with that.
for all the artists that want to come to LA and do it big, all that fugazi shit that they try to sell you, just be smart. No matter what. Just don't go everywhere.
Because LA ain't no joke. Yeah. Don't think that you being, got the palm trees and shit.
No more. It's like you can get God anywhere, but gotta be safe out here. Be smart.
Yeah.
You got people on the street trying to get you. You got people in the business suite trying to get you.
You got your friends, because that changes too.
Right. Yeah.
All
right. Well, shit. Let's wrap it up with the vibe of the week. Joy, you got a vibe of the week?
Shit, I told you my vibe of the week was accountability, but I feel like we've been discussing that this whole time. So you know what? I'm going to take it on a lighter level. I believe yesterday or maybe the day before was a new moon. I don't know if y'all are into astrology. For my blacksmiths, just for y'all, before y'all talk shit about astrology, it is the study. It did derive from African holistic science, and it is the study of the planets and everything in the celestial hemisphere in relativity to us, because we are the same elements, just to throw that out. So it was a new moon, and new moon signifies new beginnings. Just bringing in good things, calling in the things that you want to manifest. So yesterday I was cleaning my house like a little crackhead before I started my second little shift. I was cleaning and repotting my plants, and I said a few mantras for myself. I ate some things to cleanse and detox my body. Just for like a whole holistic renewal for myself. It's kind of like a new moon thing that I do. So I actually feel renewed. That's my vibe of the week. I feel renewed. I feel rejuvenated from, sometimes you do things, and it could be the littlest things that make your spirit level up. I feel like if you feel those inside, just do it. That's why I was cleaning like a crackhead. I almost passed out cleaning my bathroom. So yeah, renewed, almost died, but I'm renewed. It's my vibe.
Right. All right. The thing about the moon, somebody put me up on game a couple of months ago, is they said that the moon is very connected to women. You know what I mean? Because they share the same cycle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Maybe not to the day, but like every 28 days or so, you're going to get a new moon, and every 28 days or so, you're going to have a new cycle if you're a female. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that the moon is one of the biggest factors of why we have a high tide and a low tide, and it kind of, from what I've heard scientifically, it controls the waves and all that. So, I really I like the comparison between the two.
Yeah, if it, and I definitely feel that connection. Sometimes my cycle is to the day of it, even with an eclipse.
Wow.
Sometimes it'll hold off and wait till an eclipse. I'm like, what? Why does gotta happen at the same time?
Wow.
So yeah, I felt good, and I felt like that energy came over me. It was nothing I had planned. It's just something I felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
about you, Chris? Like, what's your vibe like? How you feeling?
Lately, my vibe has been about rest.
Mm.
I think this
Hmm.
might have been a vibe of the week, a few weeks ago or maybe even a few months ago, but rest is something I've really been focusing on over the past 7 days. Um,
Mm.
and honestly, although I love intentionality, it hasn't really even been intentional. It's just been I've been listening to
Mm.
my body and knocking out, and my body has been letting me sleep for hours, like not no
Wow.
5 6 hours. I'm talking about 10, 11, 12 hours.
12. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and rest is so important. It's so important that a lot of us tend to neglect because we're within a society that is very work based, work
And
focused,
hustle mentality.
work
I
obsessed,
sleep when
hustle
I'm
obsessed.
dead. All right, you
Right,
gonna
right,
die
right.
not getting no sleep.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, there's great benefit that comes with hustle
Hmm.
and strong work ethic and grinding for sure. But
Absolutely.
as with everything, there has to be a balance. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like we say, live to eat. I'm sorry, eat to live, not live to eat. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you also have to sustain yourself with rest. You know what I mean? You can grind, 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 but it's there's going to be a lot of benefit to it, but there's also going to be a lot of detriment that comes with burning yourself out. You burn the candle at both ends. You're not going to have nothing
Yeah.
left. You know what I mean?
Right.
To add to your family, to add to your personal life, to add to your health. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Big part of rest is health.
Oh, it's rest is important. You can actually notice the difference in your whole spirit when you get rest. And if you're sleeping 10 and 12 hours, your body and your spirit, sometimes it might not necessarily be physically that you were tired, but sometimes your spirit, or you've been
Right,
moving a lot,
right,
you've been dedicating yourself to a certain project, that, and you need rest. Just like a cell phone has to charge, you have to charge. You have to go down at some point. So it's good that you're getting rest, and it's good that that's a vibe, because a lot of us, like we said, there's nothing wrong with the hustle mentality, but too many people talk about that and we don't talk about the importance of rest. You can't hustle if you don't have enough rest.
right. In order to hustle efficiently, life should be
Right.
more. We should all be focused on efficiency. You know what I mean? You could work
Mm,
20 hours and not get much done, whereas if you're efficient, you could work 2 hours and get much more done. You know what I mean?
right.
So efficiency is the
Right.
name of the game, and in order
I
to be
love
efficient,
that.
you have to rest. You have to give your body those hours that it needs. You know what I mean? Your body and mind
Yeah.
and spirit. And
Yes.
to take it biblical, like I always do. You know what I mean? Biblically speaking, rest is very associated. I'm always gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on, take us to
Like,
church today.
biblically speaking, rest is connected um in lockstep with trust. It's the same shit. You know what I
Mm.
mean? People that tend
Mm.
to be insomniacs, or maybe not insomniacs, because that's a condition all in itself. But like, we have to understand that everything doesn't necessarily fall on us as an individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
grinding, hustle, 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 it's which are great things, of course. But while you're resting, you have to put your trust that, okay, whatever you're worried about, you just got to put
Right.
those worries to the side, at least for the next 6 to 8 hours, or however much you need. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
very connected to trust. You have to lay your head down and just let it go. Let it go.
You're right.
And that's how you
Speaking to
build
an
trust.
overthinker. Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
I've suffered from insomnia, and it hasn't been because I wasn't in the bed. I didn't have enough hour. I had been in the bed since 8,
Right.
didn't go to
And
sleep till what, 5, because I'm
yeah,
literally not trusting
it's
that
hard.
whatever I'm stressed about is, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Mm,
It's not just
So
laying your body down, it's laying your thoughts and everything else to the side
yeah,
and trusting. That's deep.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Noah, the story of Noah was all about trust at the end of it, you know what I mean? And Noah is
Yeah.
translated as rest in Hebrew. It's translated as rest. You
Wow.
know what I mean? So he was building that boat for years. People was looking at him like he was stupid, dumb, crazy, you name it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But that whole
Right.
time he was resting in the he was and don't and rest is not separate from grinding. You can grind and still rest. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you are at peace. Peace is the name of it. You know what I mean? You could still be working your ass off, but be at peace within
Right.
yourself to know that your work is going to accomplish the goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus
Exactly.
working your ass off and still worried and stressed and everything. You know what I mean? Like there's two
Right.
types of work and rest that you can have. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's all about
That's
trust at
right,
the end of the day.
Chris. Speak that.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Yeah. I love that rest. I'm a big advocate of it. Especially because it is I feel like it is a skill to have that balance. Sometimes the
It's
rest
hard.
is yeah, yeah, you know. So you get your hours in, don't feel guilty about it. Some people feel guilty. They're like, "Oh, I went to sleep for this long. Get your rest on, sleep." And
Right.
as long as you got a balance, as long as you're not cutting into priorities, things that have to be done
Right.
in order to maintain a stable life, listen, get your rest.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
There's a
love that. I'm
reason why.
happy for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a reason why
Yeah,
people vacation. You know what I'm saying? That
right,
vacation, you work so hard and you balance it out with vacation.
right,
You know what I mean? So
right.
balance on a daily basis. You
Yeah,
put your hours in, but when it at the end of that day, you gotta just rest and get ready for the next one. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I agree. I love that.
So, but yeah, I appreciate you for
Okay.
sharing your vibe of the day. I'm
Thank
all
you,
about it.
Chris.
You know, and
Thank you, co-host.
I appreciate you, Joy. Thank you for your input today, LJ. I think he went away for a little bit, but we appreciate you as well, LJ, for your
Yeah,
input on these topics that we covered today. And we'll be
man.
back next week for sure with some fresh news for you, some fresh information, and some helpful tips. We'll see you again next week on The Bronze Room.
Yes. Peace, blacksmiths.